don't think it's in here right now though, but I can find that from Shlosha Devarim. Is it that one?
Yeah, that one's fine.
Shlosha. Is it that one?
Yeah, that one's fine.
Shlosha Devarim. Oh, it's here. Is that the Dropkin?
Yeah. No, not that one.
No, is that a different one?
That's it. Yeah. There you go.
Do that one? Yeah, I do the one. Shlosha Devarim. Whose is that one? Do you know? That's old. Is that Binder or one of those guys? Is it here?
Yeah, it's in here. They're all this is that whole
And it's so easy.
and also Shaw's in there. Also all of Rumbaloo's in there.
Romaloo's in there. Calvin?
Yep.
Is it
175. Yeah. No, it doesn't. Although I like that.
Will you keep singing or do you?
Yeah, I'll keep singing.
You'll keep singing? Okay.
So yeah, that's the one.
Is it this
Yeah,
one?
that's that one. Right. Yeah. Now if you could do it in D minor.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Yeah, that'd be best.
Okay, I'll copy.
Okay. Right. Let me go.
Oh, but wait a minute. I'm not. It's going to be the same thing, though, isn't it?
No.
Meaning I can't
Yeah, just use the music. I would just yeah.
just use the music. Can I lightly write the chords in? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's totally okay. Here's a pencil.
I usually have a pencil here. Al haTorah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al gemilut chasadim.
You could probably do it on site.
What's that?
You could probably do it on site.
I can, but I just like.
Okay.
I just
yeah.
like to be sure.
I know. Okay, so you don't like to play wrong notes like I do all the time.
Well,
because I'm never sure.
I just, I'm
and
just.
people look at me like.
I'm just kind of crazy about making sure I'm prepared. Oh, no.
I'll be right back.
I am a step. Yeah. A quick question. What is your? I've never really asked. What is your
Yeah, yeah,
honestly, when I play a show of them,
yeah.
it's such fun. Just to be around kind of one thing. It's interesting. I just was for
I share a birthday with Bob.
there you go.
So
From 1685. Oh,
yes, yeah, yeah. He's a little bit older than
yeah.
I am. Just a little.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom. We'll try that again. Shabbat Shalom. Good morning. Welcome. We welcome those who have gathered here in the sanctuary. We welcome those who are participating in our digital sanctuary through the live stream. We are here to continue our celebration of Shabbat, a day of rest and joy and holiness. And we gather this morning with an added measure of joy as we celebrate with Jared, his family, and his friends as he is called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Now, worship is one of participation. As you came into the sanctuary this morning, you should have received a copy of our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah. If you've had a chance to open it already, you may have noticed a couple of features. The first is that the book opens in the Hebrew direction from right to left. Second, all of the Hebrew that's a part of our worship this morning also appears in transliteration. So even if you're unfamiliar with the Hebrew alphabet, you'll be able to follow along, and we certainly encourage you to do just that. So let's continue. As we begin our worship, I would like to invite Sydney Weisenberg and Eric Levy to join me on the bima and invite the congregation to rise as you are able. Okay, you're going to come forward. You're going to open the ark doors. Please be seated. You can sit down. Thank you. You can sit down. Thank you. We continue now on page 67, and I'd like to invite Eric Levy to lead us on page 67 in our prayer books, page 67. Okay, there we go, perfect.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Amen. We continue now on page 74 with the singing of Matovu. Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel.
Tov
our worship now on page 175 as Jared comes forward to lead us responsively in the blessings Nisim B'chol Yom, the blessings for the everyday miracles that we can experience in the ordinary parts of our lives.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'sechvi vina lehahavin ben yom uven laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rukah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malabish arumim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten laya'ev koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir sheni me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sheni ben chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ozir Yisrael b'gvora.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedeshanu b'mitzvotah v'tzivanu la'osok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. This last blessing is the blessing for study, and it gives us the opportunity on page 180 to reflect on passages from the Mishnah, the first layer of commentary on the 5 books of Moses, on the Torah. It reminds us that there are responsibilities, indeed obligations that we have, the value of which can hardly begin to be measured. Page 180. Jared?
These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study in the morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying for the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, and making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
We continue our worship as we move from these introductory passages to the next section of our worship, the Shema and its blessings. We mark the transition with a prayer called Chatzi Kaddish on page 194. Amen.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvarei Hoshem osei shalom uvarei et ha'chol Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvarei Hoshem osei shalom uvarei et ha'chol Hameir la'aretz v'adarim alecha b'rachamim uftuvo mechadesh b'chol yom tamid ma'aseh v'reshit ma'arabu ma'asecha Adonai kulam b'chokhma asita mala ha'aretz kinyanecha titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach ma'aseh yedecha v'al ma'orei or she'asita yifaruach selah or hadash al tzion ta'ir v'nizkeh kulam
We continue responsively in the English on page 199. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear. In every land and every age, your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, you are one, unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel, and joyfully remember that from the dawn of Israel's life we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Habocheh be'emo Yisrael be'ahava.
Amen.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Ve'avta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avavecha ub'kol nafshecha ub'kol me'odecha v'chayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinentam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lektecha v'aderech uv'shok b'cha uv'kumecha l'chartam le'ot al yedecha v'chayu l'tatafot b'neinecha uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Laman tizkaru v'hasitem et kol mitzvotai v'ditem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzidetchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lichot lechem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue on page 203 as Jared continues to lead us.
Sing the songs of men and women, joined in the understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael.
Adonai, Sifai Taif Tifta, Ufi Ayagidilotecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Tasadim Tovim, V'chonei Hakol, V'zoker Hasdei Avot V'imahot, U'ma'gvi Geula, Livnei V'neihem, Man, Shemo Ba'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Akol Atarav le'oshia, Morid Hatal, Mechochel Chaim b'chesed, Mechaye Akol Brachamim Rabim, Shomech Noflim, Rofei Holim, Umatir Asurim, Umakayim Emunato, Lishanei Afar, Mikamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umi Domelach, Melech Memit Umchayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'emanata L'chachayot HaKol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol.
Please be seated. As we've arrived at the middle section of this part of our worship, we have the opportunity again to reflect on the sanctity, the holiness of Shabbat. We do so with the words of Yismechu, the top of page 211 in your prayer books. bring this section of our worship to a close with a prayer for shalom, a prayer for wholeness, for well-being, a prayer indeed for peace, for ourselves, for our families, for our community, and indeed for all the world. Sim Shalom, page 216.
Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. We invite you to join us. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. Barchenu yotreinu, kulanu k'echad, be'or panecha, ki be'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. Torat chaim le'ahavat chesed, u'tzedaka u'veracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שים שלום, טובה וברכה, chen v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch hu baruch
Baruch et amo Yisrael, Shalom.
sim shalom, tova uvracha, amen.
We take this next moment to reflect on prayers not necessarily found written in our prayer books, but the prayers that we each can find written in our own hearts with this moment of silent reflection.
to you be acceptable to you. Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Lord, my rock and redeemer. Amen.
We continue our worship with Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the order of our Torah service. Beginning on page 244, I'd like to invite up to the bima Linda Levy, Lee Weisenberg, Linda Weisenberg, Scott Weisenberg, Sarah Weisenberg, and Jared Weisenberg, and invite the congregation to rise as you are able.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kamasecha, malchutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memshadecha b'chol dor v'ador.
Come, let us declare the greatness of our God and give honor to the Torah. Our tradition teaches us that we've received Torah as part of an unbroken chain of tradition, a chain that first begins at the top of Mount Sinai, as God gave to Moses the Torah, and Moses in turn taught it to the children of Israel. And so it has been in each and every generation that our ancestors have dedicated themselves not just to the study of Torah, not just to the teaching of Torah, but in taking the words of Torah and putting them into action in every moment of every day of their lives. It is in this way that each generation has forged its own link in this chain of tradition. And so it is with us this morning that we take this Torah scroll and we pass it from the generation of the grandparents to the generation of the parents to the generation of the children, concretizing through this ritual act that the words of the Torah shall never depart from our lips, nor shall they ever cease to guide us in how to bring blessing into our lives and into our world. As this morning, a new link in our chain of tradition is forged. Together we sing the watchword of our faith, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Lecha Adonai
We should never underestimate the power of what we say nor what we do. My Torah portion is Shemini. It comes from the book of Leviticus, the third book of Torah. In it, Aaron and his 4 sons were being ordained as priests. As part of this service, Moses and Aaron followed the specific directions from God, which included bringing animals for sacrifice, which offerings were consumed by fire. 2 of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Abihu, also intended to worship God by bringing incense to the altar, and then they burned the incense on a fire pan. However, God had not instructed Nadav and Abihu to present this fire. We don't really know the details, but we do know that Nadav and Abihu died. Certainly, Nadav and Abihu did underestimate the power of what they did. I chose to chant this portion of Torah because the lessons learned from words put on parchment paper 3,500 years ago are still relevant today. We learn from Nadav and Abihu's example of how powerful our words and actions really are. We should never underestimate the power of what we say nor what we do. I've learned this in my own life too. Last summer, I went to watch several of my older brother Sydney's baseball games. Sydney is a great baseball player, and I hope to be as good as he is one day. However, I realized that when I watch Sydney play, instead of focusing on how well he does, I point out the little things that he didn't do perfectly. Looking back at it, I realized that I've often hurt Sydney's feelings, because instead of saying, "You had a great game, I'm really proud of you," I would say something like, "That ground ball took a really bad bounce." I've seen in Sydney's eyes that when I focus on the negative, I can really hurt his feelings. I realize that I've underestimated the power of my words and how they might affect my brother. Knowing how powerful my words can be, in the future, I'm going to focus on the positive because I know that will not only be honest, but it will also make Sydney feel good. My younger sister, Evie, and I play around a lot and joke a lot. Recently, Evie asked me if I wanted to play tag with her outside. I told Evie yes, I did want to play. After 10 minutes, Evie asked me if I was coming. I told her that I'd be there in 5 more minutes. After another 10 minutes went by, Evie asked me when I would be ready to go outside. I told Evie that I was with my friend and that I did not want to go outside. When I said this to Evie, I did not think it was a very big deal. However, Evie was really disappointed and sad, and that made me feel awful. I completely underestimated the effect of my actions and words would have on Evie. All Evie wanted to do was play with me, and instead of making that a really easy situation, I realized that my actions were negative instead of positive, and that had a really big effect on my sister. Going forward, I plan to be more aware of my words and actions. From experiences with Sydney and Evie, I've learned how powerful my words and actions really are and the impact that they have on people I care about. These personal examples with my siblings have really helped me to understand how important it is for us to never underestimate the power of what we say nor what we do. As part of becoming a bar mitzvah, I got to do a Tikkun Olam project, where I help or do something kind for my community. I chose to do a project inspired by my grandfather, Sam Levy. My grandpa was an amazing man. He was born and raised in a very poor part of South Africa, but that did not hold him back. My grandpa went on to receive so many degrees that I could never name them all. He was a professor and chairman of the Health Management and Policy program at the University of Iowa for a very long time, and I remember him as a painter too. I was always so proud of my grandpa, and we always had a really great relationship. In December of 2015, our entire family went to Florida to celebrate my grandma and grandpa's 50th wedding anniversary. It was an awesome time. Unfortunately, the day after we returned home, my grandpa died suddenly as a result of having a stroke. My grandpa led an amazing and very accomplished life, and I still miss him very much to this day. In memory of my grandpa, I've decided to raise money for stroke research and prevention at Northwestern Medicine. This is one instance where I am not underestimating the power of my actions, as raising money for this organization can lead to many advancements in modern medicine. All donations will go towards research on stroke prevention and treatment. With the help of Northwestern, I set up an online fundraiser and sent emails to my family and friends to get the word out. When I realized the power of my actions, I can do incredible things as a result. I would like to thank everyone at Temple Jeremiah for helping me in this journey of becoming a bar mitzvah. I would also like to thank my parents, my siblings, my grandparents, and all of my friends and family for supporting me on this journey. I feel so special with you while I celebrate becoming a bar mitzvah. Baruch atah Adonai, may God bless us with the understanding that we should never underestimate the power of what we say nor what we do. Amen.
When we join together, because this is a worship service, instead of showing our appreciation with applause as we would at a concert or performance, we use the Hebrew phrase Yasher Koach, which means may your strength increase. And when somebody says that to you, and hopefully people will have other opportunities to say that to you, the response is Baruch Tihiyeh, which is essentially so may it be. So let's try that together. Yasher Koach, and you say Baruch Tihiyeh.
Baruch Tihiyeh.
Very nice. As Jared continues with the Torah reading this morning from the book of Leviticus, as he has taught us, he will be chanting from chapter 9, verse 24. And you can find that. There's a copy of the Chumash, the Torah commentary, on the seat, the shelf of the seat that you're sitting on, or maybe in front of you, or to the left or right of you. Okay. Phantom beeps. And you can follow along on page 709 to 710 with the Torah reading.
For the first Aliyah, we would like to call to the Torah Linda Levy and Lee and Linda Weisenberg. Yamdu, Chana bat Jack for Evelyn, Yisrael Leib ben Hai Goldi, Libela bat Philomini Aliyah Rishona.
Ru'es Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher b'karbanu milcha hamim v'nasan lanu es Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vatetse esh milifnei Adonai vatokal al hamizbeach et alav et hachalavim vayar kol ha'am vayronu vayiplu al pneihem vayichu v'nei Aharon nadav achavichu ish maktakto vayidnu v'achen Esh vayasimu alecha chitoret vayagrivu lifnei Adonai esh zara asher lo tiva otam vatetse esh milifnei Adonai vatochal otam vayamutu lifnei Adonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher b'karbanu mikol ha'amim v'nasan lanu et Torah. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. For the second Aliyah, we would like to call to the Torah Sarah and Scott Weisenberg and Sydney Weisenberg. Yamdu Sarah bat Shmuel v'Chana v'Aaron ben Yisrael v'Libela v'Simcha ben Aaron v'Sara hamishpacha shel habar mitzvah Aliyah shenit.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
Vayomer Moshe El Aharon Hu Asher Diber Adonai Lemor Bikrovai Chadesh V'al Pnei Kol Ha'am Echaved Vayidom Aharon Vayikra Moshe El Mishael Ve'el El Tzafan V'nei Uziel Dod Aharon Vayomer Alechem Kirvu Su'u Etachem Me'et Pnei HaKodesh Al Michutz Lamachaneh V'yigravu V'sa'um V'kotonotam Al Michutz Lamachaneh Ka'asher Diber Moshe.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen.
It's now my honor and privilege to call this amazing young man, Mr. Jared Mason Weisenberg, to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Ya'amod, Ya'amod, Yaakov ben Aaron v'Sara al Ya'achrona is a bar mitzvah.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer Moshe El Aharon U'Elazar U'Itamar V'Na'av Rashechem Al Tifra'u Uvigdechem Lo Tiframu V'Lo Tamutu V'Al Kol Hedai Yiktsof Va'achechem Kol Het Yisrael Yivku Et Hasrefa Asher Saraf Adonai Umipetach Ohel Moed Lo Tetzu Pentamutu Kishemen Mishchat Adonai Elechem Vaya Asu Kidvar Moshe. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'chayei Olam Nata B'tochenu. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
As we prepare, try that again. As we prepare to lift and dress the Torah, I'd like to invite up to the Bima Bryce Ginyadek and Sean Ginyadek. Please rise as you are able.
Zot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Livnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai B'yad Moshe. Eitz Chaim Hi
seated. We're going to continue now with the Haftarah. The Haftarah is an additional reading that's taken from the section of the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, called the Prophets. This section is chosen because it has a connection to the Torah portion itself. The section that Jared will be chanting is from the book of 2 Samuel. And just as Nadav and Avihu drew close to God and that experience kind of destroyed them, so too we read about Uzzah, who comes too close to the Ark of the Covenant, touches it, and that destroys him as well. So we have this connection to the Torah portion itself. Jared is first going to begin with the blessing before the reading of Haftarah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzor asher bahar bin v'im tovim, v'ratzav v'divrei hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. V'samti makom la'ami l'Yisrael u'ntativ v'shakan tachtav v'lo yirgaz od v'lo yosifu v'nei avla lanoto ka'asher barishona. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzor kol haolamim, tzadik b'kol harot, ha'el hamnaman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber imchayim, shekol devara emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah, va'al ha'avodah, va'al ha'nvi'im, va'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, l'kedusha v'limtucha, l'chavod u'l'tigaret, al ha'kol, Adonai Eloheinu, anechnu modim lach, u'mvarchim otach, yitbarach shimcha, b'fi kol ha'tamid le'olam ba'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, mechadesh ha'shabbat.
Jared, we are so proud of you this morning. Proud of everything that you brought to the leading of the worship service, chanting of Torah and Haftarah, the lesson that you taught us from your own study of the Torah portion. But truthfully, the things that make us most proud are all the things that have brought you to be able to celebrate this moment with all of us. And we at Temple Jeremiah feel a special sense of pride because we have joined together with your parents to help you to learn and grow and understand what it means to be a young Jewish adult. And so it's my privilege to invite the president of our congregation, Dr. Scott Levin, to make a presentation celebrating the pride we feel in you now.
Thank you, Rabbi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach. Wow, look at that growl. That's very impressive. This is a special morning. I don't know if people in the audience realize, but that was the first Hakafah since before COVID, where Jared walked around with the Torah. It was also the first time that we dressed the Torah with family members or friends, so that was a little bit of the, we had to get back on the horse. You did a wonderful job. You did a wonderful job speaking, chanting, and getting across your message. Words and actions are truly important, and you made it very relatable, giving some great examples for your siblings. I assume you're an infielder? Yeah. Because the bad bounce in the outfield is not as, excusable. But from the simple words and actions that you might do in your house with your brother and your sister to how words and actions can be the grounds to seed revolution, to seed change, and everything you say and do, and to recognize that now is really a huge step. So mazel tov. There are a few gifts that we'd like to present to you as the congregation from the Brotherhood and Sisterhood. There's the Kiddush cup, which you'll get to drink out of in a few minutes. We hope that you're able to use that for many future Shabbats with your own family. There are a couple of certificates, one from the Union for Reform Judaism and the other from the Jewish United Fund. Both of these certificates are money that you can use for a future trip to Israel. And then last but not least, there is a certificate kind of commemorating this day, suitable for framing, that you can have as a commemoration of this day. The last thing I wanted you to do is just to kind of take a look out here, and I know you don't have your phone with you, but take a mental picture, okay? Because these are all the people that care about you, that love you, that are going to be with you through times of trouble and through the good times. You got the picture? Okay. Congratulations, Mazel Tov.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. There is an important element of the lesson that you taught and what we heard you chant in the Torah portion itself is that our words and our actions, that we should never underestimate the power, right? They have tremendous power to bring about goodness in our world or not, depending on the choice that we make, the choices that we make. And what to me is also very important is the power of silence, right? When Aaron experiences the death of 2 of his 4 sons, in that moment, there's nothing to say. There is only silence. And to be able to recognize that, yes, there is absolutely power in what we say and what we do, there's also power in what we don't say, right? And what we don't do. That sometimes what the situation most requires is silence, is reflection, is the opportunity to measure, to gauge before we begin to speak or before we begin to act. To take that pause and not automatically react to a particular situation, whether it's react in good ways or in negative ways, that it's always good to take that measure, that couple of beats beforehand. Paul Dykstra and Cantor Friedman will attest to the power of silence in between the notes, right? In between the words, that oftentimes that's where the beauty can be found or enhance the beauty of what actually is heard. And so our hope and our prayer for you, Jared, is that, yes, you will absolutely understand the power of your words and use that power to bring goodness and blessing into our world. The power of your actions, again, to bring goodness and blessing into the world. And also at the same time, to remember that there is tremendous power in silence as well. Now, Dr. Levin has expressed pride on behalf of the congregation. You know how proud I am of you. Cantor, Paul Dykstra, Matthew, who is, there he is, back there, helping us with all the tech, but no one is prouder than your parents. So it's my privilege to invite forward your mom and dad, Sarah and Scott, to offer words of blessing in celebration of this moment.
Our hearts are filled with love, pride, and joy as you, Jared, enter our faith as a man. May your life be always filled with love, joy, blessings, and all the good of this world. May you continue to live your life with an open heart and an open mind. May you always strive to help those who are less fortunate, and may you always be certain of our love for you.
Into our hands, O God, you have placed your Torah to be held high by parents and children and taught by one generation to the next. Whatever has befallen us, our people have remained steadfast in loyalty to the Torah. It was carried in the arms of parents that their children might not be deprived of their birthright. And now we pray that you, Jared, may always be worthy of this inheritance. Take its teachings into your heart and in turn pass it on to your children and those who come after you. May you be a faithful Jew searching for wisdom and truth, working for justice and peace. May the one who has always been our guide inspire you to bring honor to our family and to the house of Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, shenatan le'et lechazot
ve'et hakavod latet lacha Torah.
Torah.
Blessed is Adonai, our God, who gives the honor and privilege of entrusting you with Torah.
Amen.
Amen.
One of the great privileges we have, and Jared, I'm going to ask you to stand in between your mom and dad. And if you feel comfortable, put your arms around each other. I'm going to invite Cantor Friedman to join me as we add to the beautiful words of blessing that your parents just shared with you, with words that were first given by God to Aaron, Moses' brother, the first spiritual leader of our people, and passed on through the generations to this very moment. May God bless you and keep you. May God continue to smile upon you and always be gracious unto you. May God's presence be a constant source of strength for you in your life. And may God grant you the choicest of all blessings, the blessing of shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
And to this let us all say, Amen.
Thank you. You just rocked it. You nailed it.
We know that we have the power to make important changes, changes that bring healing, that bring repair, that bring wholeness into our world. L'takein olam b'malchut Shaddai.
L'takein olam b'malchut Shaddai. Together we can heal the world. L'takein olam b'malchut Shaddai. We must all work together, 'cause we are all the children of Adonai. V'nema v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad. We must all work together, 'cause we are all the children of Adonai.
We take this moment now to bring forth memories of those who have passed on from this earth, but who continue to be embraced in the cherished memories that we have of them, the lessons taught and learned. Jared and his family in this moment of celebration are especially remembering Jory Ginyadik, Andrea Levy, Sam Levy, Sandra Gordon, Kim Gordon, Pam Gordon Rapper, Norman Madison, Jack and Evelyn Madison, Harry and Esther Levy, Minnie and Phil Kunick, Eve Kunick, Hi and Goldie Weisenberg, and Danny and Dottie Hertz. Are there other names that we are remembering in this moment that you wish to share with us? Zichronam livracha. May the memory of the righteous always be for a blessing. As one family, we turn to page 294, and I invite you to rise as you are able for Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divrach yidute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru
The source of peace, send peace to all who mourn and bring comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And together we say,
Amen.
Please be seated. We continue our celebration of Shabbat with the Kiddush, the blessing over the Sabbath wine, in this case grape juice, and the Motzi, the blessing over the challah, the special loaf of bread baked in honor of Shabbat. And so to help lead us in these blessings, we invite forward Jared and Sydney and Ivy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Chaim. Sid, if you would take the cover off. Okay, the three of you hold the platter together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lecha min haaretz, Shabbat shalom.
A few brief announcements before we bring our worship to a close. First, at the end of the service, we're going to ask you to please remain standing at your seats so that we and Jared and his family can go out into the lobby there to receive all of the mazel tovs and well wishes. As you leave the sanctuary, please return your prayer books to the ushers. Thank you, ushers, for help this morning. And I've been asked to make an announcement to the young people who will be continuing with the celebration. There is a bus that will be waiting in the south parking lot for you to take you to the luncheon. So I think those are all the announcements. Please rise. And I'm going to invite Eric and Shelley Levy to join me at the bima as we continue with our closing song, Adon Olam, page 321.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, La'ed Nasa, B'chef Shakol, Hazar Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levano Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hove, Ve'hu Hiye B'tifara Adon Olam, Asher Malach.
Bruchim Ainu Bevoenu, Bruchim Niyeh B'Tzeitenu. Blessed are we as we gather together to celebrate Shabbat, to celebrate with Jared, his family, and his friends as he was called to the Torah as a bar mitzvah. Blessed may we be from this time and always. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov.
Yes, Mazel Tov.